On the 8th of May in 2008, a fire started in a boat warehouse in the north of the Netherlands. An appliance was sent to the fire. The decision was made to do an internal attack. Shortly after 4 firefighters entered the building, a sudden fire spread took place. 3 out of the 4 firefighters were trapped by the fire and lost their lives in the building. The Dutch National Investigation Board reconstructed this incident to answer the following questions. Firstly, what did happen? Secondly, why didn't the fire service see it coming? And thirdly, what can the fire service learn from this incident? The warehouse was 75 meters deep and its purpose was to store ships. The warehouse was constructed on a steel frame with sandwich panels filled with polyurethane foam. In the rear of the warehouse there are 3 separate rooms who are separated by stone walls and a wooden ceiling. The left room is the storage room where the fire started. In the large space, some boats, caravans and other vehicles were stored, and in the middle there was a free space to walk. In the rear left of the warehouse there was a small door who gave entrance to the storage room. This door was opened during the fire. The storage room was also in use as a workshop for cars, and there were a lot of combustible materials. In the left of the room there was a closet which was in use for electricity. Fire ignited in that closet due to a technical malfunction, and it was discovered by one of the staff at around 14:07. 3 members of the staff were working in the warehouse, and one of them is walking across the open door and he hears a crisping sound. He looks inside the room and he sees flames above the closet. He calls for his colleagues and he gets a fire extinguisher which he empties on the flames. But soon afterwards the flames again appear. He returns to the warehouse where his colleagues give him a second extinguisher. When he attempts to return into the room, it is quite impossible to enter it again because it is filled with smoke, which proves that it was a very fast fire spread. The yellow material which you can see on the walls, it was also present on the ceilings, and it is polyurethane foam which can ignite very easily and it burns very fastly. This is why the fire could spread so fast within this room. The men run out of the building, leaving the door open. In meanwhile, a lot of smoke is produced and it fills the roof section of the warehouse.
3111, goedemiddag, AC over. AC 3111 op weg naar de voor de woningbrand. Heeft u meer gegevens erbij? Nou, het is een bedrijfsbrand, in ieder geval brand in een meterkast. Volgens mij is dat bij watersport.
The fire spreads quickly through the room, produces a lot of smoke and fills the warehouse with smoke. At the same time, the open door is not big enough to provide enough oxygen to keep the fire going. Some time, the temperature in the storage room drops, which causes an underpressure, which causes new fresh air to be provided into the room. Because of the fresh air which is provided to the fire can flare up again and produces an overpressure and pushes again smoke out of the storage room. This is called a pulsating fire. A pulsating fire is dangerous because it causes a lot of unburned gases. It is irregular and it can flare up all of a sudden again. After a period of relative rest, the fire again gets into a peak and now pushes smoke out of the big door of the warehouse. Also in the rear of the warehouse, the smoke is pushed out of the building.
Welke
Met Punt, hallo.
Hoi, maar hoe lijkt het?
Ja, slecht.
Ja, wat is slecht?
Het bij elektrisch is gaan branden, het hele achterste gedeelte staat al in de brand.
Achterste gedeelte staat volledig in de brand?
Ja.
Oké. Slaan de
Oké.
vlammen er al uit of niet?
Ik heb de rook, het is heel veel rook.
Oké, nou branden die is ieder moment bij hoor.
The first appliance can see the smoke flowing low above the ground.
Zojuist teruggebeld door de melder, nu via Driebergen. De volledige achterzijde zal in brand staan, over. Ja, hebben we begrepen. We zijn onderweg. Ja, ik heb zicht op brand, ik zie de rook al. Maak een middelbrand van bij deze. Middelbrand ontvangen.
When the appliance arrives at the front of the warehouse, no smoke is showing because the fire is again in a phase of rest. The police officer tells them that the fire is in the rear of the building and nobody is inside. The firefighters look into the warehouse and they only see a little bit of smoke in the rear near the storage room, which make them conclude that probably the fire is not as big as they thought. Firefighters were not aware of the large amount of smoke which built up under the roof, probably because the big door blocked their sight. 4 firefighters entered the boat shed with a high pressure hose with the assignment to find the fire and put it out. Unaware of all the smoke above them, they walk into the warehouse. One of them goes back outside because the hose was stuck. While the firefighters moved towards the storage room which was on fire, the smoke gases mix very well with oxygen and they form an explosive mixture. When the fire reaches again a peak, it burns through the ceiling and it ignites the explosive gas. Within seconds, the fire spreads underneath the roof of the warehouse. Witnesses hear a bang and the warehouse is completely on fire. The smoke gases burn, especially outside the door, where they mix with fresh oxygen. The firefighters inside the warehouse were trapped by the fire and died soon afterwards inside. The firefighters were the victims of a smoke explosion. A smoke explosion is a very rare fire phenomenon which only can occur when the following conditions are present. First, there has to be an underventilated fire with a lot of unburned smoke gases. These smoke gases have to go to another space than the space where the fire is. It has to mix with oxygen to form the explosive picture, and finally the explosive picture has to be ignited. Fires in buildings are very dangerous, especially when there is not much air track, so the fires become underventilated. In that case, when there is a possibility that the unburned smoke gases are contained somewhere in the building, there is the risk of a smoke explosion. When approaching the building, firefighters saw a lot of smoke, which was not coming from a door or a window, but was pushed through the small spaces underneath the roof, which was an indication that there was already a lot of smoke in the building. An indication of the lack of air track inside the building was also that the smoke was lowering towards the road, which means that it is cold and there is not much air track, and that apparently the smoke had the opportunity to cool down for some time underneath the roof. In this situation, the storage room was completely closed, so the fire was enclosed into this room. If one door would have been open, the smoke would have been completely different. In that case, there would be an exhaust of unburned gases, but also a provision of enough oxygen to make the fire burn better and produce less unburned gases. Because there would be an exhaust, less unburned gases would be stacked into the warehouse. For the firefighters, it is very important to understand the air track inside the building. When the firefighters arrived at the front of the building, there was no smoke showing, which was in big contrast of the situation when they were driving towards the building where they saw a lot of smoke. When the image of the smoke outside the building is varying a lot, it is an indication that there is a pulsating fire. A pulsating fire means under ventilation, not enough oxygen. So this is a very dangerous situation. When fighting fires inside buildings, it is very important that fire service watches the changes in smoke image. Reversal of air track means danger. An interior attack to fight fires inside buildings is very effective, but also very dangerous. Interior fires can spread suddenly and trap firefighters. There are several forms of sudden fire spread. For example, smoke gas explosions, ventilation-induced flashovers, etc. It is very important that the firefighters understand these fire phenomena and can recognize the situations in when they can occur. It is very important that firefighters have enough knowledge of their profession to extinguish fires effectively, but most of all, safely.